Okay.
So anyway, this is the first welcoming session to the engineering. Well, this semester it's only 10:40. I've been teaching these classes for longer than I'm willing to admit, and this is the first semester that I've only had 10:40. And it's kind of weird because every previous semester there's always been more 10:30 students than there were 10:40, but there just wasn't enough 10:30 to have the class go, so they canceled my class due to low enrollment, which is sad. But then on the plus side, that's less than half the grading I have to do this semester. So anyway, um, I will try to be online every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Feel free to come in. This is completely optional. I'm here for you guys. Use me, abuse me, throw me out with yesterday's trash. I'm good with it. Um, if you do have questions during the week, send me emails inside of Canvas. I do that quite often. And when I get away with it, I do it during the day too. So I want to be there to answer your questions as soon as you have them. I know how frustrating it is to ask questions and have to wait 3 days for a response. I hope this hasn't gone. Okay, this thing has a tendency to mute itself in the middle of these things. I did that once. Did a whole freaking exam review and then went to publish it, and there was not a sound, not a single peep from me. So anyway, a few things on the class. Um, if you have a book that is not the fifth edition, you are still required to do the homework problems from the fifth edition, and they can be found by going to the Canvas homepage underneath resources for this course. And right here is the homework problems from the fifth edition. You must do these problems, okay? Because there are some problems in the fifth edition that are not in the previous editions, and if you don't do them, you don't get credit for them. Another thing is we do assign the practice exercises for nearly every chapter. You are required to do them and turn them in. However, be aware that if you come over here again on the Canvas homepage, down here on assignments and PE solutions, is the solutions to all the practice exercises. Those are there so that if you get stuck, you can look at them, see what you're doing wrong or what you're missing, or maybe just the little yay you're doing it right. Um, and because you have the solutions, they're only worth 10 points instead of 100. I hope that I have everything. And oh, look at that. See, it says 1030 right there. This Canvas website was a combined 1030, 1040 for cross-linking. Um, and I haven't had a chance to get rid of all the 1030s yet. Um, so I apologize in advance for that. I had no time to do it. Um, when you're submitting your homework, well, I guess after I show you some things in what are we teaching here? MATLAB. I'll show you what files you need to submit that I need for grading. So let's jump into Excel. We're not doing Excel yet until after the second exam. Um, I'll show you around a little bit inside of uh, MATLAB here, and then we'll discuss a little bit about the exams. This way I hold your attention through the MATLAB stuff to get to the really important stuff, the exams. So anyway, this is MATLAB. I'm running a version 2018B. You can use practically any version. Well, you can use any version you want. However, be aware that 2016 they began a thing that's called Live Editor, which is really nice, especially in 2018 when you get into the chapter on user-defined functions where you're creating your own functions. Prior to 2016, they were all individual files. Each function had its own file, so when you turned in that assignment, you were turning in like 18 or 20 different files. But with the live editor, and now also in 2018B, in the M file, you can put them all in one file, and it's really convenient. So this is MATLAB. When you open yours up, it's going to be different. I like mine this way. You can move these windows around wherever you want. I think yours comes with the window down here, the command window. I like to have it over here so that I can see what the output is as I'm grading. That's not where I wanted you. Yeah, they do move around, but it's not easy. There we go. And then, Control D, dock. There we go. And then, so in MATLAB here, we have, these are the files or the windows that you use the most. Your current folder, very important that you set all your files in the current folder, especially when we get into loading data files. MATLAB will default to the current folder to find your data file that you're trying to load. If it's not there, you'll get an error. Okay. It is possible to have a workaround to have it search another folder, but I don't recommend that, because if you don't put your coding to access the, well, sorry, I looked at my fingers and lost my thought. If you don't have MATLAB default to the current folder, then when I try to grade your homework, it looks for a file on your folder that doesn't exist on mine, and it won't work. I think the most important thing is to keep your graders happy. So just have a default to the current folder, and you can set your current folder. Just this little arrow right here, folder file with the arrow on it. You just click on that, and then it's just a basic window browser. You can go to wherever you want to be your current folder. So I have one here on the desktop that is called MATLAB Online, so I use this as my current folder. Once I've selected that, I say OK, and now this is now my current folder. You can see it's my school folder, because it's got a lot of the data files that we load in here. You can also navigate through this one here, but whatever you can also create new folders. So anyway, current folder, very important. That save all your work here, and you can save it wherever you want. If you're doing all access, I know some students, some semesters have issues getting them onto their personal computer, and I have to train myself every semester. I don't use all access. I have it on my laptop. No reason to use all access. We'll cover that when we get to the exam. But you need to be aware that in order to turn in your homework, you'll have to save it to your local drive if you're doing all access, or save it to your file at community college, and then go on campus to grab it to submit it. Sometimes it's quite a nuisance. You can get a student copy of MATLAB from MathWorks. It's only $100. It'll give you MATLAB simulation and the symbolics toolbox that we need for. Does this class go into symbolic? It's still highly recommended that you get the symbolics toolbox. That'll help you with doing calculus too. Where am I going? Oh, okay. So the workspace, this just shows you all of the variables that you have defined. Right now, I just got one called X, and we can see what it is by just typing in the command window X. X is equal to X. Wow, cool. It's a symbolic It's a character symbolic, so it has no value assigned to it. It's just signed it. Um, so anyway, so this is the command window. Anything that you type in the command window is automatically executed. So if we have 6 minus 9, we'll come up with -3. It's an automatic, you enter it, it gives you an automatic output. Now, a lot of students will do all their work in the command window and submit that as a final homework assignment. And I've returned it ungraded because I can't grade out of the command window. I have to be able to run your code to make sure it's working properly. Plus, you'll find it to be a lot easier working in either an M file or the live editor, because you can, if you make a mistake in here, you have to retype it all, make changes, execute it again, and keep going until you get the right. But in the M file or live editor, you make changes, execute, and then go on once you have it correct. So, okay, so to get an M file or a live editor, there's several ways to do it. One, you can, right here you have new script. This will be an M file. Or if you go back to home, there's a new live script. So this is the live script, and this is an M file. What's the difference? Well, the difference is as you're typing here, let's say R equals 5, and then area is equal to pi times R raised to the deuce. Okay, and now if I execute this code, it will go into the command window. Okay, and I executed that by hitting Control Enter. And I'll cover that in just a second. Why don't you cover it now? Okay, I'll cover it now. So we have this code in our M file, and we want to execute. So if we're on the Editor tab, this is the editor. There are 3 ways that I know of to execute code. 3, 4, 3. There's a few ways to execute. First off, if you want to run the entire file, I mean, if we had 4,000 lines on here and you wanted to run the whole thing, you would hit this run. Now, the best thing about hit and run is it forces you to save it, because it saves every time you hit the run button. Oh, and see, okay, here, right there we go. That brings us to the next one. Valid file name. Your valid file name has to be the same criteria as a valid variable, which means it cannot start with a number, it cannot contain special characters, and it cannot contain a space. Only letters, numbers, and the underscore are allowed in a variable name. So because I have a space here between demo and the Roman numerals, so if I put an underscore there, it will now save it. And the reason why file names have to have that is because I could close this and we'll see that it's in my, it's right there in my live editor. Now if I come over here, if I want to clear the memory, we hit type in the word clear. That clears our workspace. So that there was an R in an area there, but it's gone now. And if we want to clear the command window, we type a CLC. That's CLC. That clears the command window. So now I don't want you to go up. Let's stay there because so now I can come over here and type in demo underscore, and then Roman's confused me. I don't know if that's 4 or 6. So because it didn't, I just typed that in, it goes in here, it calls up that program and run it. Now, if it wasn't a very valid file name, it wouldn't be able to do that. So that's why valid file names are very important. So anyway, so okay, if you want to run the whole thing, you can push the run. It saves it first and then run. If you don't want to run the whole thing, you just want to run one cell. What's a cell? Okay, I'll tell you what a cell is. A cell is if you start a line with 2% signs and a space, and then you can type anything you want after that. It's now a cell. SQRT T. Okay, and now we just want to run what's in here. We can hit this right here, run section. So it's only going to calculate or run what's in this area right here. So see, it's right there. It didn't do this down here because we have only R and P. So we can see that better if we clear the screen each time. Now, if we want to run this section and advance to this one, we hit this one down here. This runs this one and then advances control down to that one. Boom. And then we hit it again. And I hit it again. Oh, run in advance. Sorry, here's the run in advance. Here's the run in advance. And then that one. I got a little confused because on this one, on the live editor, they're right above it. Sorry. I'm allowed to be confused. I'm old. So that's one way to run it. If you want to run each section or run in advance, or you can come over to if you right mouse click, you can down here somewhere. Comment insert sections. Okay, it's not going to do that. But if you highlight the code, you can right mouse evaluate selection, or you can hit Control Enter to run just the section you're in. Or if you Shift Control Enter, executes and advances. And I got very familiar with those because that's what I use for grading. I don't want to talk to you. Any questions so far? Did I put you to sleep?
Sorry, I was on mute. No, that's great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you have questions, just pipe up. That's fine. Okay. So that's cells, creating cells, and like I say, you got to have this. It's got to be 2% signs and a space. If you put just 1% sign, it's a comment. Okay, and just MATLAB ignores that. If you put 3% signs, it's still a comment. The first one's considered the comment, and the rest is the comment afterwards. So you got to have a space after the first two to make it a cell. And if you don't do cells on your homework, I guarantee you when I grade it, there'll be cells when you get it back in the mail because it's easier for me to grade one problem at a time. The CLC and clear, what do I require? I don't require you to use those, but I should require it. I should. But I don't. The CLC clear in the command window is, that's up to you. If you want to clear that, keep it cleaned up, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But the clear button, let's say you're working here on problem number 1 and you got R equals 5, and then you don't do a clear and you're down there on line 247 doing problem number 4, and the darn thing just won't work. It keeps giving you an error because it's expecting R to be something different, and because you assigned it to be 5 in problem 1, when it gets down to that other problem, it's still going to have the value that was assigned in problem 1, but it's not right for the problem you're working on. But if you begin each problem that does not continue from the previous problem with a clear, you won't run into that. If you forget to establish the value, initiate a value, initialize a value, that's probably the word I was looking for, it'll pop up and say that R is undefined, and then it'll help you. I've known a lot of students that have lost a lot of time because of that issue. Now, I don't know if you were watching up here in the left-hand corner, but did you just see this little file pop up here that says demo_4 ASD? Okay, that is a very important file. It'll go away when you close this if it's within a certain amount of time. What it is, it's an automatic backup file from MATLAB. If for some reason your file becomes corrupted, you can't open it. If you go to that .asv file and change the extension from ASV to an M, and because I already have that file named somewhere, I'm going to have to add a difference to it. That will recover everything that was in that file when what are we in? MATLAB. When MATLAB created that demo file or backup. And see, that's got everything in there that this one does. So if you do have problems with your homework, it becomes corrupted, you can't open it. Look for the ASV file in your current folder, change the ASV to a .m, and it may not have everything, but it'll have a lot more than starting over from scratch.
So it'll keep the ASV file even after I close my M file, or does it delete that ASV?
Yeah, sometime I'm not sure what the criteria is on it staying in that folder, but I know I've seen it pop up before, and when I close the file I'm working on, it'll disappear, which to me doesn't make much of a backup if it disappears. But at some certain point, it will stay in there until you delete it.
Okay.
So like I say, if your file becomes corrupt, that would be the first thing to do is go in there and look for that .asv. And the second thing to do, if you don't have that, is come beg for mercy.
Okay.
I'm pretty much a marshmallow, you know. My view on this is that I am here to teach you guys how to solve problems using these tools, not to see how badly I can make you fail the class.
Great.
You know, I know there are some instructors that are very thorough, that whatever wasn't covered in class will be covered on the exam. I am not like that.
Great. That's great news.
But then I don't write all the tests either, so. We'll get on tests here in just a bit. Okay, so L. So element operator. Here's an element operator. What's an element operator? Well, would you just hang on? I will tell you. Oh, you're so slow. I know. So okay, I'm gonna have a habit of calling this silly thing SolidWorks. So from here on out, the rest of this video, if I say SolidWorks, just do the conversion in your head, and it means MATLAB. Okay. So if you're working in MATLAB and you have an array, let's say of values of 1 to 10. Okay, so I don't know if you've gotten into the book yet, but this tells MATLAB take the assign its values of 1, and because there's only one colon in there, it's going to increment by 1 to 10. So this will give us a vector from 1 to 10. Okay, very simple. And we're clear. And see, it doesn't do any. Okay. Oh, and we got to talk about these little guys here. We'll get to those in a minute. The semicolon at the end, what that does is it suppresses the output of the command window. You notice as I run this, you can't see, but I am pushing the buttons to make it run. I'll even come up here and push it and see. It's just there's nothing because we put the here is how we can prove it. We'll come up here, we'll clear everything and run this. Okay, we created a variable, but it didn't show up. The semicolon suppresses the output through the command window. Okay, it is a great thing to do for your calculation, but your final result, I need to have it displayed to the command window. My connection is down. No one can see what I'm doing. Hang on. Where's my mouse? Where did I get to here? Was I describing these little guys over here yet? No, I wasn't. Outputs.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's in the video, so anyway, the semicolon suppresses the output to the command window. And it's okay to use those for the calculations, but I've got to see the results of it. I mean, I've been doing these homework problems for so long, I know what the results are supposed to be, so I look at the results. If they're right, I basically, make sure you didn't hard code the answer in and move on to the next one. But if it's the wrong output, then I can go in and find out why it's wrong. My finger hurts.
So do you want us to suppress the output on like our homework problems, like and like except for the final answer?
Except for the final answer. And unless it tells you to display it to the screen, you can go ahead and suppress it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about these little orange lines over here. Okay, a lot of students will see these orange lines and it'll say, look at that. It says to terminate the statement with a semicolon to suppress the output. I don't want you to do that. I'll have some students do that on every line, and then when I run it, I just get a blank screen. I can't see it, so I have to take the time to go through and remove the semicolon so I can see the output. So just ignore these guys over here. And, on a calculation, we can go ahead and suppress it. Because I don't need to see that, okay, yeah, T is 1 to 10. If you don't, it's not that big a deal either. I'm not going to take points away for not suppressing. Unless, you have this. Then, yeah, I'm going to, because now I'm looking at a whole bunch of freaking numbers. And it just goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever until I cancel it. But if we suppress it, it's done. But I don't want that many numbers in here. That's too many numbers. Okay, so the element operator, that's where we were headed. So now let's say we want to square every element in that vector. Okay, so you just think, oh, well, that's easy. That's just T, not capital T, you idiot. Don't call me that. It hurts my feelings. T raised to 2. Okay, that was square. Well, you would think so, but it won't. Because MATLAB is short for matrix laboratories. Everything in MATLAB is based on matrices. So it's trying to take T and multiply it by itself. Okay, it's not the right dimension in order to do matrix multiplication on it. So what we use is the element operator. And I don't know if that's the official name for it, but that's what I've been calling it for the 100 years that I've been teaching this class. Because what it does, that little period before the operator tells MATLAB to go into T and take each element and square it, element by element, one at a time. So now when we do this, we see we have 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's what the element up, and you need to do that on powers and multiplication. Okay? If you had another one here that was u equals 11 to 20, we couldn't do t times u because they're not right, but if we put a decimal in there, they'll work. And also, if we wanted to go t times the sine of u, because u is a vector, you're going to have, those 10 elements in there, and you'll still have to do it. Okay, it doesn't work. Hey, it wasn't going to work. So we do element by element. And then one more case where you're using it, dividing by a vector or matrix is not possible. It's like dividing by 0. It's just mathematically not possible to divide by a vector or a matrix. So you have to use the element operator to divide. Okay, so now, any questions thus far? Okay, I don't think so. No, if you got questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so what do you turn in? I don't know. You're supposed to be telling me. Okay, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. For all of your assignments except for chapter, I don't remember, chapter 6, I think. I think chapter 6 is the one on user-defined functions. You'll turn in the M file. And that's basically all I need. When we get into the data files, if you change the name of the data file, then you'll have to submit that too. Otherwise, if you use the default names, I can just use the files I have here. Well, what about the live editor? Okay, I will show you the live editor. Boy, you just got all kinds of questions. Okay, so the live editor here, you'll notice with the the M file here, all of the output was coming over here in the command window. So if we clear that and we come over here, now you have two options. You can have the output come over on the side, or I like to do it underneath. So now we have, if we start R equals 10 and area equals pi times R raised to the deuce. And when you run this, the output comes underneath it. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. So now if you want to make a comment, you'll come up here and hit this and turn it into text. So that's basically the same as doing the comments on the other page. And then when you get back into doing coding, and then when we get into user-defined functions, I'll show you how to put your function at the bottom. Oh, I forgot to put the P in there. You're stupid. I know, thanks. So with the live editor, you will again, has to be a valid variable. You'll turn in the .mlx if you're doing in live editor. Now, okay, so that's basics of what I teach on how to do the homework. Now, a few other class details. The exams. There will be 3 exams in this class, 2 of which will be on MATLAB, and the final exam will be only on Excel. So there will be no MATLAB on the Excel final. The exams will be taking place in the ITC testing center. There are several options of facilities for which to take them in. What are they? Just a minute, I'm looking. Oh, you should have had that ready before your class. I know, but I'm stupid. I will provide a link in the announcements before the test exam. So you'll need to come on here if you haven't done ITC testing before. You'll look for the engineering, and you'll look for me. Here's exam 1, exam 2, and 1040 final. So they will be available in the Taylorsville, South City, Jordan, and West Valley Center. Now, if you look at the calendar, boy, you are just pushing things all over the place. I know it. I do talk to myself quite a bit. It's not just for your benefit. It's me. I'm losing touch with reality. You'll notice here that the midterm says it's on the 15th of February for the first midterm. Does that mean that you can take it only on the 15th? No, it will be in the testing center from Monday the 11th through Friday the 15th. You guys take an online class because you have busy schedules and you cannot always be able to attend a test on a given day, so I make it available all week. You'll have 2 hours to take the exam. You can take it will be for the MATLAB portion. We'll give you an electronic copy of the textbook. You can't take yours in. We've had too many people in the past just overdo writing notes in their books when they weren't supposed to, and it just got to where we finally said, okay, no more books, we'll give you electronics. However, you'll notice here after exam 2, just at the end of that week, 2 days later, your first Excel assignment is due. So plan accordingly. And then for the final, we do not have. We should have, but we ain't got. And that's not good grammar either. I am no English teacher. Okay, I are a mechanical engineer. The file, you can take in your Excel book as long as it has not been written in. If it has been written in, the testing center will not allow you to bring it in. Any homework for the from previous exam, that exam can be turned in up to and including the last day of the exam until midnight. It will be marked late after the last, well, after their due dates, they're marked late. Unless I'm in a giving mood like on Excel here, I may be a little giving if it's turned in a few days late.
So on the they don't provide like an electronic copy of the book. We just bring in ours if it hasn't been written in.
Right, on Excel.
Okay.
So we have an in on the MATLAB book because Holly Moore wrote the book that we're using. So she has access to the electronic copies. And so I think it was through that connection we got electronic copies of the MATLAB. Excel, I really wish we would get into an updated version because we're using an Excel book for Excel 2007. And 2016 is out. So,
okay. Can I ask a quick question on the submission files? So we can send in a .m file or a .mlx file depending on which editor.
Depending on which one you're using, yes, you can use either one. And at this point, I really don't have a preference. I would say on the assignment with all of the user-defined functions, I would appreciate if you do the live editor, just because then I'm only downloading one file instead of 15 or 20. But again, if you're more comfortable doing the M files, I'm not going to force you to. Well, obviously, you should get familiar with the live editor because that's, well, again, does it have to be done? It doesn't have to be done in a live editor. It will be given to you in a live editor format. Okay, when we make the exams, they are submitted to the live editor. But if you're not comfortable with the live editor, you can always come up here and do a save as and save it as an M file. And then do your work in an M file. And then, like I say, when we get into the weekend, the Thursday before we do user-defined functions, I'll show you how to do all your user-defined functions inside of one file. And with MATLAB 2018B, even the M file allows you to do your functions inside. Prior to this, it wouldn't do it. You couldn't do it.
Okay. Great.
Okay. Anything else? I've probably bored you to tears.
Nope. It was really helpful. Thank you.